Welcome to the Political Ferret Show. New content will be uploaded every Wednesday and Sunday, and if you like this kind of content, consider becoming a Patreon and help with just $1 a month to make the change possible. Today we're gonna talk about the lasers as propulsion system. This is one topic that I find very interesting and very important, and it is picked up nowadays from a lot of people, and a lot of people make some mistakes about that. And the problem is pretty much that a lot of the problems that the system faces is not technical in nature, it is human in nature, and this is where the political thing comes in. But more to that in a later moment. Let's start with the technology. As we all know, you have to do something to achieve speed. So what we do to this very moment is we take rockets, put something in there, and then we burn fuel to bring them up to speed. So this thing has some problems. One of these problems is, well, you can achieve some speeds, but you have to brake also, because in space there is nothing that slows you down naturally, so you have to do something to lose speeds, which means that you have to do something, burn chemicals right now to achieve the speed that is required. Then you can shut down the whole thing and you fly forward with the same speed. Pretty much. But then when you are near to the target, you have to do something, pretty much burning chemicals again, to slow down to a halt. The problem with that is that you have to have a lot of burnable materials, fuel on your ship. And when your whole ship pretty much consists out of fuel, well, you have not a lot of space for the people you want to transport, the machines you want to transport, or whatever you want to transport. In reality, of course, this thing does not look like this. You would take a normal rocket, you speed it up, and when you are near to your target, you just turn it around and you burn it, and then you are back at 0 speed. And then you can step out and do whatever you want on your destination. So an alternative to that is you put a big mirror on the backside of your ship, and then you beam a laser or something like that onto your ship. This will lead to an increase of speed to very large degrees. This means that you can achieve around 4 to 40% of light speed, which is pretty fast. But this thing has a downside, and we will talk about the downsides right now. So when you now have your place of origin, let's say Earth, and then you have your target location, you can then just build a satellite in some sorts and beam out your laser beam. The problem is the laser beam will not really reach your destination, especially if this destination is very, very, very far away. It will fade away. And the reason is not as much that it collides with things in their way, because there is not a lot around. The thing is more that you can't focus your laser beam. You can focus it to a certain degree, but not totally. So you will have the problem that over time this beamed energy will be diminished. This is part of the nature of the whole thing. So what you can do then is you can beam a focused laser beam on your little shippy that is not so tiny, I would say, and you will slowly but surely increase the speed of your ship. This is one way to do it, just to beam on a very focused spot. On another way, you can shoot a beam that covers the whole sail and even some more. You can then on the ship take out of that some energy. You can create energy out of that and run your whole ship onto that, and you use it to sail over the sea of the void, as you would say. The problem with that is if you just say, okay, I just double the diameter of my laser beam, that means that you have to invest 4 times the energy, and so on. So the larger you make your laser beam, the more energy it will consume. And we do not talk about some weeks, we talk about centuries to come that you have to put energy into that, with an ever decreasing amount of energy reaching really your ship, which is also a little bit of a problem. So now you could run into a problem. What if there is something in your way? Something is floating in your way and you have to go out of the way. Well, you can manipulate your way and go outside of your beam, but this leads of course to problems. You are not in your wind You're pretty much a sailor ship that has to go outside of the wind. But more than that, you have in your laser, when you're only partly in your laser sync, you have the problem that parts of your ship will try to accelerate faster than another part of your ship, and you have to counteract it. But these things can be done, and can be done reliably when you have navigational thrusters that are strong enough. So there is not really a problem there. But we run in a really big problem if something blocks the whole stream and nothing comes through that. This might be things that we do not understand right now to a certain degree, and it is especially a problem if we talk about very far distances, because then you are cut off from all your energy, and this might be a problem especially in a moment where you do not think this could happen. So you have to have backups in regards of propulsion and energy production on your ship. The other thing is, what if you want to leave the trail and want to go somewhere else? The obvious thing there is you just call back, you just say to Earth, hey, can you adjust the laser beam? And they will say yes, no problem, and adjust the laser beam. But the problem is there that when you say something like this, it will take some time. If you are 1 light year away, it will take at least 1 year for this information, and then they will adjust the laser beam, and 1 year later the laser beam will be corrected. So this might be a problem because you do not want the course correction in 2 years, you want them right now. So information transfer and also the laser beam become a problem when we talk about distances that go far beyond 1 light year to very ridiculous amounts. So the thing is, you can't do this really. You have to give pretty much 1 laser beam that is constant, and the ship will have to do all the corrections. So now we run into the problems with human beings. The people back on Earth running the satellite, this might be a company, this might be a nation, this might be something else, could just say, meh, we do not want to do this anymore because we need the energy for something else, and we just shut down this whole project because who cares, we do not want that anymore. Or the belief that the ship failed for some reasons, whatever. So these are the problems that we have, or that I especially have with this whole thing. It is from a technical standpoint quite sound. It would work not bad. The idea is pretty much that you have your laser station on your point of origin, and you send something that can build something like this on your destination a little bit far away, because you can send a robot ship way faster before you send human colonists. So you send some robots over there, they create a laser that can then slow you down, and you do not need anything on your ship, but you rely on 2 systems. You rely on pretty much Earth, for example, to provide this laser beam so that you can reach your target, and you rely on the system that will be in place when you reach the target. And for some reasons, especially when we think about a company who wants to do this, they would say, okay, we send the colony ship and the construction ship away at the same moment. The construction ship will be there, I don't know, 20 years sooner, and will construct then the thing in 10 years. But what if they don't? So there is a human factor, and of course the human factor is that back home they just say, okay, we just shut this down, and then you might have a big problem on your ship. So sailing on light streams, sailing on lasers, on microwaves or something like this sounds very cool, and it is technically doable. That's the interesting thing. But the wild card is the human factor. It's just the human factor. All problems that we have with a reliable help from back home is that humans are not reliable. That's the thing. And this is the main problem with all technology from my point of view. It is never just the technology. It's always the human factor that comes into the whole thing that makes things go bad. So the interesting question arises how to solve that. Well, the only way to solve is to put the human factor out of the whole equation, and this leads to some other questions that we will tackle a little bit later in another video. Till then, thanks for watching, like, share and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.